Welcome. In this video, I'm going to guide you through the 5 secrets to increase vocal strength and stamina for your singing voice. Hi, I'm Carrie Cole, celebrity and holistic vocal coach. I've been teaching artists and singers for over 3 decades now, out of my studio in New York City. And I help singers sound better. I'm the founder of the Cole Vocal Method. And I help artists find their true identity and create success in the music business. So our topic today, these 5 secrets to increase vocal strength and stamina of your singing voice. Vocal strength and stamina are the key elements to a voice that can deliver night after night, right? And it's also very important and often critical to be able to count on your voice, a voice that will be there for you when you need it the most, that will deliver upon cue. And this really makes a difference in the confidence level of that singer, knowing that they can go out there and sing night after night. Their voice is consistent. They can rely upon it. And this really is a key indicator of the level of strength and conditioning and vocal technique in the singer. So to increase vocal strength, you really want to start with specific voice building exercises that focus on breath control, but also support. And in the Cole Vocal Method, we use techniques that strip away the compensatory muscles that interfere with sound, that constrict, the tension from the neck, the tension from the throat, over-singing from the throat, tension from the muscles of the jaw and the tongue, and lack of real support from the breathing, and also from the posture, singing from the collarbones down instead of the collarbones up. And practicing voice building exercises, you'd be surprised at what you're leaving on the table, having never done that kind of biomechanical core strengthening voice building to really make your voice strong. So regular warm-ups, cool downs, conditioning exercises, but also voice building exercises. And I haven't found these really, other than more buffet style or smorgasbord style, techniques here and there. Try this, try that. This is an actual method that moves you towards building that strong and healthy voice. And for those of you really looking for more, today at 3 p.m. Eastern is my one time a year masterclass where I talk about building a strong and healthy voice and building a world-class voice and what that's really about. And you can come and get an actual experience as you're in the masterclass. If you can't join us today, sign up and get the replay. Replay is up for 7 days. We are announcing our Vocal Freedom Circle, our special promo discount, where we give you a massive discount to be able to join us and get these voice building exercises to build that power and stamina. Here's a quick outline of the topics covered in today's video. So I'm going to talk about breath control. I'm going to talk about onset and breath retention. I'm going to talk about support, consistent training and conditioning, and why that's so important, and voice building techniques. Okay. So let's dive in. Okay. So step number 1, breath control for singers involves managing the airflow. For sign up, just go to the link tree and you'll see the link for our masterclass at the top of our link tree in our bio, and you can sign up there. I can't type it over here into the comments in Instagram. I'll put it over here on YouTube where we stream live. So I'll share it over there, and that will also feed to Facebook. So you can click on that link. It's today from 3 to 4:30 p.m. Okay, so step number 1, breath control. Breath control for singers involves managing the airflow from the lungs to support the vocal production, which is essential for maintaining good pitch, volume, endurance, stamina, all of those things that we need to be able to sing correctly without damaging the voice or falling back on the throat, which in a sense ruins the voice over time. Techniques like diaphragmatic breathing and specific exercises can help strengthen the diaphragm, Move the intercostal muscles, which are in the ribs, to get the air into the lower triangles of the lungs to improve overall breath support. And we'll do an example of that in the masterclass today. So here I'm going to take you through this quick little exercise. So if you are in front of a mirror or a monitor, or you can prop your phone where you can see yourself down to your rib cage, I want you to look in the mirror or monitor to watch your chest and rib cage. And I want you to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. What do you notice happening in the chest and the abdomen? Do we see this? Did your shoulders lift? Did your chest raise? This is an indication you're breathing only into the top portion of the lungs instead of accessing the deeper triangles of the lungs. So now take another breath. Raise your chest a little bit more than normal before you take the breath. Now exhale. Don't drop the chest. Now inhale. Did you feel it more into the rib cage and abdomen? This is indicating that you're breathing down into the lower portion of the lungs. And I have a demonstration of diaphragmatic breathing on Instagram you can watch, on YouTube. And I also teach it inside the Cold-Vocal method. Number 2 is breath retention. And that's just the very tippy top of the iceberg for the entire subject. But it gives you a good idea of where you need to work. Breath retention is number 2. And that is really important because it's not necessarily how much air you gather, although that is an important part of really being able to fill the lower triangle of the lungs, which is really going to give you that support that you're looking for. But the next step is then to retain the air you've brought into your lungs instead of letting it all spill out on the first note, which is super common. So a lot of people, they'll take their breath, and I'm always going like this because we want to breathe into the rib cage, into the lower portion of the ribs, like the lower 4 to 5 ribs, and the stomach also moving out. And this is not addressed enough in vocal training. Most people talk about the abdomen, but when the abdomen spills out, it's because the ribs are tight and we don't get those intercostal muscles moving, the ribs moving, the diaphragm isn't dropping down. So then the next step is retaining the air. So what most people do, if you put your hands on your ribs, take a nice breath. I'll address the compensatory muscles in a moment. I see a question over on YouTube. So when you take that breath in, the tendency is upon singing. So if you sing, so put your hands on your rib cage, place them on your rib cage and take a nice breath in. Okay. Now sing, ah, ah. Did you feel those ribs move in? Do it again. Take a nice breath. Sing, ah. Did you feel those ribs move in? Okay, so in training, we teach you how to not move in on the moment of sound, on the onset, because when you do that, you immediately lose all of that wonderful air that you've collected, and we call it breath retention. So we really want to be able to stay expanded in the rib cage and not lose the ribs or squeeze the ribs in, which means you're pushing air out. It means you're making sound by pushing the air instead of supporting the air and using the instrument more correctly. And it's more involved than that, of course, but that is sort of the beginning of what to turn it around, of how to turn things around. Number 3 is support. I'll take a quick moment and just invite you to the masterclass today at 3 p.m., Building a World-Class Voice, the step-by-step method. I go over 25 steps. In the masterclass, I go over the first 10 and give you exercises, and we do them together. And then I give you, at the end of class, I give you the outline of the 25 steps and then invite you to come learn the 25 steps in our Vocal Freedom Circle, or you can just jump to the Vocal Freedom Circle. And I'll talk to the compensatory muscles. So the compensatory muscles are everything that I teach inside. Looks like you've purchased the Singer's Gift. Wonderful. Everything inside my technique in my method is doing all of that. We are stripping away the compensatory muscles. So just by starting the method, just by starting the Singer's Gift, you are starting to strip away the compensatory muscles. Compensatory muscles mean accessory muscles is another way of talking about them. They are the muscles of the jaw and the tongue and the neck and all the muscles that interfere and constrict the voice. And so in training, we learn to use good posture. We learn to put the head back over the body and use the support of the breath in the diaphragm, but also the support of the trunk of the body. So everything that I'm teaching you is intrinsic inside the technique and setting you up for that. And the next level of that is the voice building exercises inside the vocal freedom circle. That's the only place that I teach sort of the nuts and bolts, the real foundation of building a world-class voice or level voice or up leveling your voice to a much higher level is inside the vocal freedom circle in those voice buildings. Singer's Gift is just the start for your warm-ups. A lot of people just do Singer's Gift and they have tremendous results. It's a wonderful beginning to the cold vocal method. But the next step is the voice building exercises inside the vocal freedom circle. So number 3 is support. So finding the right support for your voice with breathing, as I mentioned prior, is really important, because if we don't get that breath underneath the voice to support the voice, we're singing from the throat, right? But the support is also established using the muscles of the trunk from the collarbones to the pubic bone, or the torso of your body. Posture is the first place we look to improve support. People that have more vocal problems have a dropped chest, they're disconnected from their bodies, they're singing from their collarbones up. And so in the technique, intrinsic in the technique, inherent in the technique from the very beginning of the Singer's Gift, and then the Vocal Rescue Kit, and then the Master's, the first level of the cold vocal method is the Singer's Gift vocal warm-ups, the Vocal Rescue Kit for the conditioning and vocal therapy, which you'll need from time to time, and then the master voice building exercises, and then the fundamentals. And those are all taught inside the Vocal Freedom Circle. It's over 70 exercises on audio and video for you to really start this process and stop ruining your voice and start singing correctly, and using the breath as support, using the trunk of the body as support, stopping using the neck and the back of the neck and the throat, and ruining your voice, falling back on your throat and ruining your voice, because long-term that won't hold up for you. So correct posture really helps to take the strain off the throat, and it uses the body to absorb the work required to sing well. When the chest stays lifted during singing, instead of dropping, which is common, the voice retains air in the lungs, giving fuel to sing on, and the voice is supported instead of strained. And I teach this throughout the entire method. There's a quick alignment exercise over on the blog that was just released this morning that this topic is based off of. So if you want that exercise, go over there and grab that. Okay, step number 4. Consistent training and conditioning. The only way to really build a confident and consistent voice. And put your questions in the comments now. So, because I'm going to open it up to you guys in just a few minutes. The only way to really build a confident, strong, healthy, consistent voice is to train, but with the right method, because not all methods are created equal. And a lot of methods do something that I call window dressing. They're just adjusting the surface of the voice. They're adjusting the sound on the surface of the voice for where you place it, but they're never really stripping away the compensatory muscles and strengthening the core muscles, which the cold vocal method does. Any vocal product you buy from me is starting you on that journey, right? So the process of practicing technique, vocal technique, and practicing repeated correct motions to reprogram the body's muscles, breath system to coordinate the singing voice helps you to improve the quality, improve the tone, improve the range, all the physicalities of the singing voice, which is elemental, because we think it's confidence. Oh, if I just have more confidence, I could hit that high note. But if your voice does not know the position to get into to deliver that note easily and readily, then you'll be inconsistent in that note. And one of the most important pieces of the cold vocal method that's not taught in any other method is to separate the action of the tongue and the laryngeal muscles. And so the positions that I put you in are doing that right from the start, because the tongue is right on top of the larynx. And so the tongue tends to, before training, before you've isolated these muscles and learned how to use the right ones and not use the wrong ones, the tongue will act as a depressor or a resistor, as the voice needs more strength for, louder notes or higher notes or faster notes. And it will tend to, for higher vowels, for E, the tongue goes really high. Ah, the tongue goes down, hopefully, not on everybody, but it should go down. And that comes from a well-conditioned tongue and getting stress out of the tongue and all of those things. But there's no way by just thinking, oh, I'm going to keep my tongue down, or I'm thinking where to put the sound or where to place the sound. That means the singer is distracted constantly by where to place the sound. But when you train, you're spending that 20 to 30 to 40 minutes a day, 20-minute minimum. We have them organized into 20-minute sequences because 20-minute minimum we see the result with. But whatever your practice time is, you're putting in that technical time to make the changes in the physical instrument. So when you go to sing, it's there for you. You don't have to think about it. You shouldn't be thinking about your tongue. You shouldn't be thinking about your technique when you're singing. You think about your technique when you're training in practice to rehearse the movements and get them programmed into your body and into the back of your mind, because at the front of your mind, you want to focus on performance. So, and conditioning is a big thing. I've been teaching for almost 4 decades now. And, I was the first person to really start talking about cool downs because it was inside of our technique. No one had really been talking about it before then. And now that's a pretty popular term, but what is it exactly? And we have a specific cool down regime that you'll only find here. And if people are using it, they took it from us, which involves a sequence of particular vowel series that thins out the edges of the vocal folds and take down inflammation. And that was based on 40 years of vocal science that was studied by the guy who invented this technique, Edward Dwyer, who passed away a couple decades ago. And then my mentor continued the training, and then I continued the training and turned it into a method because it's so powerful. And conditioning is a very important part of regular training. The conditioning exercises are inside. I put one little series of it, the gihis, inside the warm-up, but it's really inside the vocal rescue kit, the cool downs, and then the further conditioning is inside level 2, which is in the vocal mastery program. But when you are using this technique and the singer's gift, the vocal rescue kit, and the masters inside the vocal freedom circle, you are in that process of conditioning your voice for healthy singing, because there's a natural wear and tear that comes from performance. And it's easy to end up accumulating unwanted throat tension and wearing the voice out early from performance, because performance is extremely demanding. And then number 5 are the voice building techniques, which I kind of talked about prior. But in training, voice building techniques are done with specific methodology and positions that will separate the action of the tongue and the larynx. That way, when you sing E and the tongue pulls up, it doesn't pull the larynx up with it, destabilizing the voice. And A and I and other vowels where the tongue is high, we need to practice this so that we have control and we have a stabilized larynx and we have actual control of the body, using the body more correctly, right? And when we practice those specific positions with specific exercises that strip away the compensatory muscles, we then strengthen the core muscles. And that's why I can take a singer at any level from any technique. Or for instance, I have a singer who's working with another vocal coach. She's been working with her for many years. She's a classical singer, crossover pop singer, and she's still working with her vocal coach. And this technical practice is only assisting the work they do there. So the result is a much stronger voice that can hold up well and deliver performance consistently, increase longevity, and protect the health of your voice for your entire career. There's no reason to lose your voice. It's a lack of correct technique. And then there are environmental and diet and things like that that come into play. but it really has to do with the technique of your singing and your speaking voice. So I'll open up for questions. Suzanne says, I like what you said about reprogramming the muscles with your method. I purchased Singer's Gift last summer and use it all the time now. Yes. And imagine what's waiting for you inside the voice building exercises, inside the Masters in Vocal Freedom, which is the perfect next step for you. And we just added, there are 8 module trainings inside the Vocal Freedom Circle, and they teach the whole method, the foundation of the method. That is what you need. It's the next step after Singer's Gift. And the very detailed modules really guide you through the process, give you your regimen through the program. And we just added monthly Zoom calls, so you can hop on Zoom with me in a private community setting, and we can workshop and brainstorm, and you can ask me questions live. And that goes long after the program. So all alumni for VOC are invited to that monthly call. And I do that to support the community and continue to support you in your work with the cold vocal method. So anybody have any questions? Any questions about voice? Any questions about the master classes from 3 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern today? Building a world-class voice, a step-by-step method for building a strong and healthy award-winning voice. And that's the beautiful thing about the cold vocal method, is it really builds the tone and all of the physicalities that you're looking for, that pro singers, world-class voice level singers have established within their voice. And in the masterclass, I go through the first 10 of the 25 steps for building a world-class voice that is within the method. And then at the end of class, I give you the PDF with the 25 steps that you can have to learn more about. Yes, it's incredible. I mean, I had no idea what was waiting for my voice. I was an average singer. I was a good singer, had kind of a breathy voice and sort of folky. And I sang Joni Mitchell and Neil Young and some Linda Ronstadt. I would belt it out a bit. But when I joined a rock band, when I moved to New York at 19 and I joined a rock band and went to music school, that's when I started having trouble because I couldn't project. So thank God it led me to training, because it became my vocation. And I went through a lot of techniques before I landed on this one and found this method. I couldn't believe it. It was an actual method. It was a system. And that's what you really need. This is what you do for this. This is what you do for that. This is what you do for that. And then here's the trajectory to really build all of the things that you want in your voice. So I have a question over here on Instagram. Garrison, hi, Garrison. He says, do you recommend doing the Singer's Gift every day or just when warming up in a modified version with added technique? So once you've learned, if the Singer's Gift is all you have, do it every day. Yeah, because you are doing all of those conditioning movements. And you can, on the day of performance, you could do half, depending on how long the performance is. Generally, the longer the performance, the shorter the warm-up. The shorter the performance, the longer the warm-up. Once you're in VOC and you've learned the masters, then you only use the Singer's Gift for warm-up days or a couple days prior and the day of. Otherwise, you're working on the masters because you want to get in that voice building, heavy lifting that you need to really build out all the overtone series, the legato voice, all of those amazing things. Eternal Lasha says, how do you handle voice breaks, airy and shaky voice, particularly interesting in the underpinning emotional trauma in your initial consult? How do you identify these? Yes, absolutely. I found over the years, Eternal Lasha, that I had a lot of trauma in my early childhood, so I'm very familiar with it. And there were certain aspects that disconnected me from my body, from disassociating, that over time took me a while to learn how to create a safe enough environment here to be able to inhabit the body. So, but as far as the voice breaks, airy and shaky voice, yes, some of that is coming from trauma, but the majority of it is coming from a lack of strength at the actual core of the instrument. So you need to do real voice building, and the voice breaks are coming from the larynx popping up too much and can also be from reflux. So there are reasons why you have those things, and they're all fixable. And once we strengthen the core instrument, a lot of that starts to fade away, because we're able to keep a deeper bed for the laryngeal and stabilize the laryngeal, connect it to the body. And that also can be a window into resolving some of that trauma. It kind of happened both ways for me. Some of it came from, um, psychological personal growth work that I was doing. And then part of it came from the physical work I was doing, and they kind of blended together to create the result where I, developed the voice I was really looking for and got over those things. Suzanne, I'll be attending later today. I wanted to share the link to another singer friend of mine. Can you just share the link in the email for the class? Yeah, I think I don't know if it's in the email for the class, but here's the link. It's up above also in the comments. Do you recommend? Okay, so we got that question. You're welcome. Anybody else? I have another minute or so. Method is called the cold vocal method. And let me also just send you, if you go to our website, it's one of the few methods out there. And I just finalized it over the last couple of years. I've been teaching it for 38 years, but I formed it into more of a, not more, into a method. In a very systematic approach, that you walk through. And so I just put in the comments over on YouTube, but you can find it if you go to my website at carriecole.com. At the top in the page titles, you'll see the cold vocal method. So if you just click on that, it'll walk you through the background of the method, the philosophy, the history, how it was created, what it's about, how it works, the science behind it, and all of that, and then how you can learn it. Yes. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm always excited to convert a singer to the method, because it truly is a method that works right from the beginning. You feel it. And not only do you feel it and notice it, but other people notice it. And it's really exciting when you dive in and do the work, and then you have like producers, musicians commenting, wow, your voice is incredible. What are you doing? Just the testimonials alone are just outstanding in terms of, it's very exciting, like taking an average singer to a really good singer, or a really good singer to an excellent singer, or an excellent singer to an extraordinary singer. And wherever you are, it's going to bump you up to that next level. And then you will continue, because I think one of the problems is singers plateau with their voices. There's only so much you can do with the natural born. It's really the technique that is going to bring you to the finishing line. So, yeah, it's very exciting. I'm as excited today as I was when I first started teaching, maybe even more so now, because the skills I have as a technique teacher are, I'm able to get you there much faster. And it's even more exciting now. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you can join us on the masterclass, Building a World-Class Voice, the step-by-step method I will reveal to building a strong and healthy award-winning voice. And it's the real deal. Don't miss it. If you can't join us, sign up and get the replay. The replay's up for 7 days, but I highly recommend you watching this either in replay or joining us live. And I look forward to seeing you there, or further down the road. I'll see you every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern as well. Thanks for joining me. Bye, everyone.